Hey everyone, Michael Anthony here. Van Halen, Chickenfoot, Sammy in the Circle. But anyway, you're listening to the only podcast that is dedicated to breaking down the entire Van Halen catalog one track at a time. And the podcast will rock. Ow!
Hello, baby!
What is up, all you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between? You've joined us for a new edition of And the Podcast Will Rock. Welcome back to the show. If it's your first time listening, let me break down what the show is all about. This is the show that dives into the catalogue and discography of one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, Van Halen. And we do it one track at a time. He's the Brian Johnson to my Bon Scott, the Blaze Bayley to my Bruce Dickinson, the David Lee Roth to my Sammy Hagar. You know him, you love him. He's the hardest working man in podcasting. How's it going tonight, Corey Morissette? I'm bringing you back in. Even though you're trying to sit in the background, you got to say a few words, my friend.
I wasn't prepared for that. I'm not here, Kevin, for crying out loud.
You are here.
I'm the wizard tonight. I'm moving the puppet strings from behind the scenes.
I just wanted you to sort of give a little bit of intro here. But why the hell am I introducing And the Podcast Will Rock? What the fuck is going on? Fill us in.
Because Mark Kameyer is Mark Kameyer. That's why. And about 2 hours before we were going to go record tonight, with our special guests from the Bogus Soda Show, Darren and Brent, who are all lined up for a week to come on the show. They were very excited. Mark messaged me and says, "Oh, right, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. My family just showed up. I can't record tonight." So I'm like, great. What the fuck do we do now? We need a show to drop. So I thought of, we thought of a couple things kicking around. And actually it was the illustrious, the brilliant Scott Monroe who suggested that the patrons do something. Like, you know what? Just you guys take the show. This will be your show here tonight. I put the call out for any of our patrons who wanted to come on. I said, I'll recreate the original wheel with 131 songs on it that we started with way back when. So you can spend any damn cut you like here tonight. If you decide you want to mulligan it, if it's a song we haven't done yet and you want to wait. But we're hoping for kind of a revisited show here with whatever you guys spin, and you guys just run the show. Unfortunately, Kevin Brown doesn't have much of a life and agreed to come on. And there's Heath McCoy. Whatever happened to Heath Murphy? He's in the corner.
Okay, well, we've got Heath McCoy's on the line. We've got David Lee Smith. We've got Michael Triplett. We've got Ryan Powell. We've got Scott Monroe, I see there. And we got Nate from the Deep Purple podcast and more Deep Dive podcast and royalty. And of course, we've got Chaz from almost every other show on the Deep Dive podcast that Corey and I don't do. So welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Oh, Haskins messaging, is he? Okay.
Oh, God.
How's everyone doing tonight?
We've got lurkers doing great. How are you?
Very, very well. I guess.
Just
You're
another
all fired up,
night.
man.
I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Excited to be on the show.
We got to see what we get. Manifestations we should do. Or is there any news from the news desk, Corey? Did you want to go into any of that, or should we let other people sort of join in and stomp about on that?
You know, we're going to be talking next week with the Bogus Otis boys about the Sammy stuff. If you guys want to kick it around for a little bit too, you guys go right ahead. It's your show. I'm not even here. I'm just here to spin the wheel and play a tune. You guys do what you want to do.
Well, let's by quick show of hands. Who thinks that David Lee Roth will join Sammy Hagar on the upcoming tour?
Woohoo!
I see no hands.
Yeah.
No, not
He'll do it for a show, and it's going to be a disaster.
Oh, have faith. Come on. It's kumbaya.
I think Sammy's little invitation I think it was on the Howard Stern show, was obviously, it was just Sammy being the hype man. I mean, he had, he walked it back. He had no intention of having Dave come on his show. And I don't think Roth would do it in a million years either,
It's so funny, right? Because everyone's watching this from the outside, and as soon as it happens, you're like, "Oh God, here we go." And Dave answers, and you think, "Would you two just grow up?" They're both like, "You're 70 odd years old. You're 60. Just get over it already."
I really do. All Dave said, Dave called him on his bluff, basically, and Sammy started slinging mud again. Like this whole idea of Sammy as the Mr. Nice Guy rocker. It's just not a reality. He's been taking his digs forever, and I think, and this just showed it. I mean, Dave just called him on it. And I think if Dave did go on, I think it would be the worst possible thing for him too, because he can't do it anymore. He would look terrible, and he probably deep down he must know that. I don't know.
Yeah, but they should all get together on the Howard Stern show and talk it out. That would be wonderful.
That pains us to say that, right? I mean, as much I would, I mean, personally, as I think I wouldn't be shocked if we said as much we would love to see it happen. I knew that was coming.
Yeah,
no surprise.
I think Sammy just threw that out there, recognizing the potential bad optics of doing a Van Halen tour without, members of Van Halen, without Al's blessing or whatever else. And I think primarily it was like, hey, I want Al to come out, like, bottom of my heart, I'd love to invite you out, to kind of make it a little bit more authentic. And of course he threw David Lee Roth in there and as like kind of the olive branch of like, yeah, sure, we want this to be like this big, like, let's put this tribute together. But I think it was kind of a bluff. I don't think he wanted David Lee Roth there. I'm sure he would love to have Al play some songs with him, and if he took him up on that, he would absolutely take him up on that. But
well, and I think if you look back to what Sammy said too, I mean, he made it a point to point out once again, he doesn't like singing Jump, and he has the fans sing along to that. I think in his mind he was thinking, okay, maybe Dave will show up for a show or two and sing Jump, and leave it at that. That's not the same thing as touring with Sammy.
Right.
I think this idea that Sammy's, he's doing this for the fans too. I mean, he is doing it for the fans in a way, and his fans are gonna love this. That Van Hagar fans are gonna love this. It'd be a great show. But I think he's doing the real reason he's doing this is for his to solidify his legacy in Van Halen, because he knows damn well that the Roth version of Van Halen is more revered. It's more respected by the great deal of fans, I think, and it's more revered by critics. And I think he wants to kind of put his, assert his flag there, that there's, that he's every bit as, or he's even the superior singer of Van Halen. Because if the two of them got on stage now, I mean, Roth would look terrible, and Sammy still comes off great, right? So I think it's a legacy thing more than this is for the fans thing.
But do you think, I mean, wouldn't you say, though, that time's probably past? I mean, legacy. I mean, if you've not built your legacy after 4 albums and countless tours and a couple of reunions, I don't know what he gains from this, if that is what he's trying to do,
Well, I mean, look at the way even Van Halen kind of put a thumb on the legacy for a long time there. Like, only now did they do the remasters of the Sammy stuff. When they got back with Dave in 2007, I think they actually tried to bury the Sammy stuff, and so I think he's really wanted to push, like, I was a part of Van Halen, I was a part of their major era too, and I'm not second fiddle to Roth, and I want my stuff to be up there in the pantheon as well. I think that's what it's all about.
It could well be.
I think all these guys are working on legacy now, and you look at what Paul McCartney's been doing over the past couple of years. If there's anyone that doesn't have to worry about a legacy, it's Paul McCartney, and he can't stop. And he's been working on so much stuff, whether it's these photo books or reworking old songs, and doing the final Beatles song and the Get Back thing. I mean, he's just, I guess when you're of that level of talent and fame, all you can worry about at this point in your life is legacy.
Legacy's a funny thing. Like, like McCartney, what does this man have to prove, right? But I think for years, actually, he was, I mean, it's come around now, I think, but for years and years, a lot of people thought, like, he was, McCartney was the pop candy ass side of the Beatles, and Lennon was the real Beatles. Lennon was the rocker. And so I actually think McCartney has sort of thought that he had a legacy to preserve and to protect and get out there as well. I think even a guy of his stature, I think, thought that he needs to put his legacy, that he was just as important to the Beatles as Lennon. And I kind of think that's what Sammy's doing with Van Halen in a lot of ways.
Well, I think don't rule out too the fact that I think McCartney especially does it because he just loves it. Like, he loves playing those songs, right? Because like I said, he doesn't need the money. And Sammy's not doing this for the money because he makes way more money off all his other stuff. So I think it's just that love of getting up and performing. And when it's that, and I mean, it is going to be a great show. Everyone knows it's going to be a great show. And Satriani is going to be great. Is he Van Halen? Is he Eddie Van Halen? Of course he's not. He's not going to try to be Eddie Van Halen, but they're going to put on a fantastic show and they're going to have a lot of fun and everyone's going to have a lot of fun. And they've said like there are people probably going to join him for one show here and there in different cities, which is just fantastic for the fans, you know? It's just you'd wish that this little bit of silliness at the start didn't happen because it's going to sour it for a few people, you know?
Yeah, well, to your point, McCartney's out there doing this stuff because it is who he is and it's what he does. And he was just quoted by Geddy Lee, who finally met him after all these years. Paul said, I never got to meet anybody in Rush. And so Geddy and Alex were together and they were able to get together with Paul and get loaded with Paul, apparently, and have a really good time. And in fact, if Rush comes back, if they do something, we can thank Paul McCartney. That's what was being attributed in this article. But Paul said, you know, the reason you do it is because this is who we are and what we do, and this is what we do. And I think Ringo, it was even kind of quoted the same way. You know, he's out there, he's 80 years old, and I saw clips of him last week. He looks incredible, and they're still putting on a wonderful show, right? So this is in their DNA. Right. So I think you'll see all these guys back. Legacy is important. You're right. And I thought Sammy was coming from the right place to get out there and do it based on the interviews, based on, you know, he's been sharing him and Mikey, you know, getting really, you know, all teary eyed and sincere and, you know, their regrets about the Van Halen relationship and where things ended and where things could have gone. Right. And all that stuff. But, you know, I think at this point, though, with the shit we saw today, it's all showbiz, baby. It's showbiz. Sammy is the Red Rocker. Yes. Very competitive, always will be.
Now, welcome to the show late. That's -5 brownie points, Eric Senich. How are you doing tonight,
Hey, hey, what's up, guys? What do we got here? Look at this. Where's Corey? Where's Mark? No, are they?
Corey is just hiding. He's just being the producer tonight. He's kind of handed this off and landed me with it, which is a lot of fun. And Mark cool. is engaged with his in-laws, who he forgot were coming in for Thanksgiving. So and I've mentioned it on his part. So
gotcha. Just to make sure, is my mic working?
Absolutely perfect.
Because last time they did it on StreamYard, and as you watch on YouTube, I'm here with the headphones on, talking into the microphone, and it didn't go through. So just want to make sure. StreamYard is, I don't know, got to change the settings. So
I wanted to give you
what a week, huh?
I wanted to give you one guess. But what were we talking about when you joined the call?
Were you talking about Mandabala? David Lee's song Mandabala?
You guessed.
That's big news.
We were not.
Yeah, what a week. Wow, holy shit. Yeah, this is crazy. You know, I got to read you. Maybe you already talked about it. Did you read Nuno's comments?
No, not yet. No.
Okay, so we'll get to that. That's not up on the desk, but maybe we'll put that up. But man,
an exclusive.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. When did we get? Dave sent us the quote yesterday. So
yeah,
so I'm on the highway and I'm stuck in traffic. In my text, I see the text from Jeff Hausman, Van Halen News Desk. He's the publisher, and he says, "Hey, Eric, can you put an article up?" I said, "Well, yeah." You know, I called him, stuck in traffic, so I called him. I said, "Yeah, but it's going to be a little while." He said, "Well," he said, "Roth, his publicist just sent us a quote." So I said, "Okay, what did he have to say?" And it was short and sweet, you know. Ooh, so it was funny though. Jeff and I'm literally stuck in traffic. Jeff and I are just going over what the headline's going to be, and so I finally get home and I didn't even take my jacket off. I just sat down here and I just started. You know, I had Jeff on the phone with me. He's like, "Okay, so what are we going to do? Hold on, read that back again to." Okay, so hold on. Let's change. Let's put the top. Move that down. Okay, Dave's quote's gonna. It was fucking crazy. It was surreal, you know? And then within 30 minutes, I put that article up here from my apartment. And then within 30 minutes, it's fucking viral. It's on Ultimate Classic Rock and all this.
Hell yeah.
So Jeff and I were laughing and, you know, it was on Yahoo today. And it was funny because they said Van Halen News Desk pressed Roth for a comment. So we got a comment. I said, Jeff, I guess we pressed Dave for a comment.
Is that unusual, though, that for him or Sammy or whomever to go to the news desk rather than just going through their own social media channels? Because
Dave will go through us.
Okay.
Dave goes through us, which is so cool. His publicist will reach out. And this has happened before. Sammy doesn't. I mean, I'm sure Sammy would talk to us. Michael Anthony's been really cool with the desk. I mean, he had a there's a great interview that Jeff did with him years ago. And Michael Anthony's like a super nice guy, friends with Jeff and all that shit. But no, Sammy doesn't. I mean, not that he wouldn't. But that would be cool if we can get Sammy to talk to.
Yeah.
But Sammy likes to talk. And I think he talked a little too much, but he doesn't care. I mean, he just says what's on his mind. And then he's just, I don't know if he backtracked today, but yeah, I don't know. Do you guys even think that Dave will show?
No.
Will this even happen?
No, I don't.
And what was Dave's motive? Is Dave just playing a little chess game with Sammy?
Yeah, I think he was calling him on his bullshit. That's what I think.
Exactly. I said this earlier. As personally, we would love to see that, but objectively, it ain't gonna happen. We knew that was coming.
The problem I would see in that is that like if Dave's not with his ego, he's not going up for a song or two.
No.
I mean, that's not going to. No, but let's just say that were to be the case, and he decides to do that. That shit won't come to fruition, because then it'll just be like Dave making demands, and then they go back and forth, and then Sam just like, I'm out, man. It ain't gonna happen.
I mean, they've been there, done that, right? They've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Why would you go back? It did not work. It's not going to work now. So
that's what Sammy was saying today, right? So if anything, it was clarifying where he was coming from. Come up for a song or two, motherfucker, but that's about it. That's what he said.
He doesn't want the Sam and Dave tour round 2.
Yeah.
I mean, he never very clear. Yeah, I don't think he ever said word for word, Dave's welcome to co-headline with me. So I think he was clarifying that, but this whole thing of like, if Dave can remember the words, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Swing the mud. He has to swing the mud all the time.
It's a sucker punch.
So, I mean, in fairness, he's been forgetting the words since the very first tour.
I forgot the fucking word.
That's actually in the script, right?
Oh my
Do you
God.
think he was referring to that? Was that friendly?
Totally.
I don't know.
You think?
Does he go that deep?
I thought he was just making a Dave's crazy and hasn't, he just hasn't been out there enough, and he's going to forget. You know what I mean? Like taking a shot at him.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I love Roth. I'm from the Roth, but even if Dave, they could play nice, and Dave was actually going to do it, and he was actually welcome on stage, and they weren't just there to, rip each other's heads off. I hope Dave doesn't do it, because David can't do it anymore, right? Yeah. Like he's just going to he'll look terrible next to Sammy. I mean, even if he's singing one of his own, he wouldn't sing a Sammy song, but even if he was singing one of his own songs, he would look bad, and he would never do it, because he'd be on Sam's turf, and I think they'd be trying to cut each other's heads somehow. David would be trying to sabotage the show, Sammy be trying to show up Dave. It would be a disaster.
I know. Yeah. And it does me. I don't enjoy saying that, but I agree. I mean, Dave, look, he's put in his time, man. He put it all out there for the fans for so long. His vocals, I don't know. You want to see, maybe he didn't take care of his voice, okay. But physically, he put it all out there. So now, he can't do the things he used to do physically. He's still got that cocky strut, and he's still Dave. But yeah, the voice, it's strange, because in the mid 90s, his voice kind of went strange there with Your Filthy Little Mouth. And then it's like he got it back for the most part for 07.
Yeah, he did.
I think, and I remember 99, from 99 up until 2007, I think he was just basically rehearsing, getting paid to rehearse, just going out on those tours. And he was playing mostly Van Halen sets because he was getting ready. Mm-hmm. And he kind of got it back. I mean, that 07 tour, he sounded great, but then he just went back to, singing out of his range and all that stuff. And
and I mean, he's just increasingly deranged too. Like, who knows? What would happen on stage?
Yeah, I mean,
he wouldn't look good. He wouldn't come off.
I think though, the part of this too, part of this problem, because the Howard Stern show is live, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a problem. You can't edit, because I bet you if that wasn't a live show, Sam says, hey, you know what? Just take that bit out. That was off the cuff. I was just riffing. I was just being stupid. Don't put that in, because it's just going to cause problems. It's one of those things where on a live show like that, you get caught. And I think that's where, Eric, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I think I read that Nuno was saying something about, Sam shouldn't have put Satriani on the spot for Mean Street, when he just clearly doesn't know it yet. Like, he hasn't learned
I'll
it.
find
And then people jump on Joe saying that he's saying that it's impossible playing. Someone just shows themselves playing. It's like, well, yeah, but you've learned that. You spent thousands of hours learning that song. Joe Satriani's been, writing and learning his own songs for his own tours. So he's Joe Satriani. The guy can play. Like, get off his back.
Yeah. Well, I think Satriani's I think he's gonna do just fine. I think he's gonna master that. But I just think that this is why Nuno was kind of pissed at Sammy. I can get to Nuno's quote, but Kevin, I don't think Sammy's the type of guy that would even. He doesn't edit himself. He doesn't. He's not worried. He doesn't care.
No,
he'll just say what comes to mind.
Yep.
And he's just not worried. He's not concerned with it. I mean, he takes shots at Dave. He did, but he's not the type that would do that. I think. I just don't think. I mean, he's just that type of person. He just says whatever's on his mind. Even the book. I mean, he regrets writing some of the things that he wrote about Eddie in that book. And even you heard him on Stern saying, if I had known Ed was that sick in 2004, I wouldn't have been so, I don't know, whatever words he used, but he wouldn't have been such a, prick or just, been so cruel or whatever. But, that's Sammy. Sammy's not worried at this point. At his age and the money he's got, he's not worried.
Right.
He's got
one thing to keep in mind about the Mean Street lick and the Joe Satriani on the Stern show is Sammy didn't throw him under the bus with that. In fact, Sammy wanted to talk about 5150. That was the riff he wanted to talk about.
Right.
It was Joe Satriani that brought up, oh, no, check this one out. And I almost think that Sammy was annoyed that he pulled in something that was from the Dave era, not the thing he wanted to focus on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So honestly, I think it was Joe. It was just infectious. Like, we're talking about the hardest riffs and like, check this out. Like, this is so hard. And so it was his own thing. He was just like caught up in the moment and kind of regretted it afterward just for the kind of shit he got for it. But not Sammy.
That's a good point. It is a good point. Yeah. He didn't say, hey, go ahead and play Mean Street.
I think though I suspect that we're probably all Satriani fans. And what I did like about that though was that you've got a guy there who is at the top table, but wasn't afraid to show himself.
Right.
That's the other point.
Pretty cool.
Exactly. I mean, so these people that don't get it, that what he was doing is just being a guitar player and saying, hey, check this out, and just playing his guitar, just don't fucking get it. I mean, I can't understand that that's a controversy, quite frankly. What
weird,
he did,
right?
what he could or couldn't do on spot or not, whatever. Yeah. I mean, you pick up the guitar and go play Mean Street. Go ahead.
That's what Jeff
With the cameras rolling.
Yeah, right? Jeff Hausman said, he goes, I can't believe this is like turned into this big deal.
Right?
I did not see that coming.
That's so bizarre, right? Yeah.
Satriani, I think, is pretty much he's been around a long time. I think he's comfortable enough in his own skin to be like he's okay with it. But I would think he's a little he's probably a little bummed. And even Sammy had a tweet, I think, the next day, which pretty much made it clear that he was aware of the backlash, because he tweeted out something about like, we're still going to be rehearsing, or there was not he made it clear. We could try to find it, but he was just trying to make it very clear that there was no rehearsing done, and don't worry about it. Things are going to be much better. That was basically like reassuring the fans. Yeah. Here's Nuno's quote. He was on the Jeremy White show, which is a great podcast. Jeremy White asked him about Satch's playing on Mean Street. So here we go. You guys ready for the quote? This is from Nuno. And Nuno tells it like it is, too. Here's Nuno. The one thing that I learned recently of seeing Joe or anybody, me, Joe, anybody, if we're going to take a risk and we're going to play an Edward anything, especially on Howard Stern or anything like that, where you can't get it back, good luck. That's all I'm saying is good luck. Why? Because you're going now into hallowed ground. And then he later says, so look, you've got to give Joe a bit of a pass on this one, because it's Joe doing Edward. I'm more pissed at Sammy for allowing him to do it, because Sammy's like, man, that's why I got Joe. Nobody can do this stuff. And I'm like, look, you're right there. You're already putting him on the spot and doing those things and asking people to play those things. It's really difficult. And if you're going to do it, man, and Joe probably knows this now, because Joe is untouchable as Joe Satriani. He's the greatest Joe Satriani you'll ever hear. Nobody can attack you. Nobody can attack you when you're doing you. And then he goes on to say, let's see. And Sam said, he's like, yeah, that's why I got Joe. He's going to nail it for you right here. And even Joe was like, no, man, this shit is fucking impossible. If I'm saying those words, I'm not playing after that. If I'm saying it's impossible for me, the next thing I'm doing is putting the fucking guitar down. But he apologized because you know what? Everybody will rip you apart. And then the final quote is, to learn something like Mean Street, you've got to sit down. You've got to go like what I did. You literally sit there like a child. And I don't care how good you are. It's kind of going back to the drawing board because you're like, oh, this is different. What is happening here? This rhythm pattern. And you're like, oh my God, he's drumming. Got it. Get that. Do I play drums? No, don't play Mean Street. Don't do it. That was his quote.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Well,
In other words, Nuno knows enough to know he shouldn't have done it because,
Right.
it sounds like Nuno could have sat down and just fucking done it.
Sounds
That's
like
what I'm
he's
kinda heard.
studied it. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like he's learned it though before. And what I'm getting from that is I've sat down and tried to figure this out because it is such a weird technique. Nothing sounds like that. No one plays something like that, right? You do get these. Someone had posted a video of them playing it. Some 17-year-old. It's like, yeah, but you probably you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a car, you've never been outside your mum's basement for the last 18 months. So on balance, you should be able to play it that well if that's all you've done for the last 18 months. So.
Yeah. What the hell was I going to say? I was going to add something else. Now I can't remember. That's what I was going to say. Satriani was already nervous when he was supposed to do the tribute with Dave and Al. I remember him saying he was really nervous at that time.
Yeah.
He was like scared shitless because he's like, I got to go through all this back catalog. I got to figure this stuff out. So maybe he was nervous too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Flying in the Blue Dream. It's my favorite Satch album.
Wolfgang was actually just talking about the same thing when he did the tribute with Foo Fighters and played Van Halen. How he was saying how absolutely nervous he was because he knew if he didn't play it perfect, he was going to get ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the same exact thing, and I think that's what Nuno is referring to. It's hollow ground, and it's a minefield. If he screws it up, it's just going to be nothing but a barrage of criticism.
Yeah, and Wolfie didn't try Mean Street intro. So you don't know if he could do it, but it just shows you how great Eddie is.
Yeah.
If Joe Satriani is having difficulty,
I think that was like the ultimate respect, honestly, from Joe, is like he was talking about like, how crazy is this? This is impossible. Let me show you how impossible this is.
Yeah.
Like one of the great guitarists of an era, and saying, and this is Ed on a whole other level.
Yeah.
Well, no matter how he does it, I mean, he's gonna practice all he can. I'm sure he can get the proper technique down. I mean, for someone as skilled as he is, he's gonna get the actual technique down. But but he's still gonna catch some flack because he's doing he's not Eddie. And hey, even if Nuno does something like that, he would get some flack because people are gonna say he's not Eddie.
Yeah, and do you want to do it note for note? Do you want to do it like paint by numbers? I mean, Joe Satriani's not some jerk off, from some tribute band or whatever. I mean, he's Joe Satriani, so he might mix a little bit of like, doing it like Eddie, but also you're gonna hear Satriani's sound. But I mean, having said that, he did 5150 really good. He did Summer Nights. He did pretty good. I mean, it sounded good. I mean, I got a little bit of the goosebumps when I was listening to hearing those songs.
Yeah.
Like I
okay.
said,
Well, just to kind of finish off this, because we are going to be spinning the wheel tonight, gentlemen. Just by a quick show of hands, I'm wondering who has tickets for the tour. Has anyone got tickets to go?
Not yet. I'm going to get them.
Not yet.
No,
I'm going to get them.
Our absent host does. He's going to Toronto to see them. I'm not, because that's a really long way to go, and Corey's way richer than I am. He's got podcast millions that I just don't have from all these patrons. So
all the Patreon people.
So I live vicariously through him. So let's do some manifestations. We've got a full wheel.
23 songs left.
We're doing the whole wheel tonight.
This is cool.
It's a respin, so we could get something we haven't had. We could get an absolute clanger that we don't want to talk about, or we could get a classic. So let's go around. David Lee Smith, what are you manifesting for tonight's wheel?
Oh, geez. Well, the one on the actual wheel, that the songs that they did not pick, I was one to at least, maybe Bullethead or The Trouble with Never. But hey, I could probably skip through those. I mean, or stick with those because you know what? Why not? I'll just go and stick with those. Why not? Bullethead or The Trouble with Never.
Perfect. Nate, what are you hoping to listen to tonight?
I'm thinking Light Up the Sky.
Oh, going back early. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael, how about you?
I think it'd be fun to have in the Cradle Will Rock, but it's funny that he said Light Up the Sky. That's one of my favorites, absolute favorites.
See, well, if we got a double manifestation, then you can guarantee that you're not going to get it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I don't want to say it.
Sure.
Chaz.
I'd love to say it, but I'm not.
What are you looking for, Chaz? You're some Sammy, eh?
I'll say it in English. We'll go with spanked.
I figured.
the agents of chaos. Ryan Powell.
Jeez.
What are you looking for, Ryan?
Oh man, I don't know if my voice is strong enough tonight to throw down with some Van Halen 3 and defend its honor, but no, I would have absolutely loved to spin Right Now when I was on, because I'd love to talk about that one and the complexities there. So since we're revisiting things, I'll go with Right Now.
Nice. Scott Monroe, how about you, sir?
Yeah, when I thought this was going to be a normal show, I was going with Humans Being, but I think it would be fun to go way back to the beginning and do Running with the Devil.
Nice. Okay. Because that was the kickoff. Absolutely. Heath McCoy, you're going to be picking obviously something from OU812, I'm going to guess.
Of course. Yeah. When it's love. No. Full bug. The full bug.
The full bug. Okay.
Hey, all right.
Good choice.
Good tune.
On late era. Eric, how about you, sir?
Still looking through. I'm going to Van Halen discography and just going through each. Maybe I'll pick something from. Yeah, Cabo Wabo, I know. See, I'm thinking of a song that I haven't picked before. I'm thinking Van Halen 2, maybe. How about Out of Love Again.
Nice.
Interesting choice.
2.
Yeah. So, Corey, I'm going to get you back in very quickly, or you can just text me your answer. What do you want to listen to tonight as the erstwhile host of the show? Oh, I'm seeing 3 dots here on my messenger, so I think he's...
Corey just emailed me.
He just messaged me and said, Scott wants Sunday afternoon in the park. Well, you know, I'm going to manifest a song just out of nastiness and spite. I'm going to manifest Amsterdam. Just because Mark's not here, and then so we won't get either of them. So
Nice. Nice.
Corey's playing some game theory here. He wants to do spanked. He says spanked, so I don't have to talk about it.
Oh no! This doesn't count. This is a. So we would have to do this again. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
I would totally pull a mulligan for that one.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to decide on the mulligan because we could be here all night either this goes, depending on how this goes. So, well, you know what? Why don't we spin up the wheel, Corey? Get that thing spinning around and let's see what we get tonight.
Kevin, how many times do you want to shuffle?
Well, we got 10 people on the call, including yourself. Let's go 10.
All right.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go.
There we go.
Here we go.
Oh,
whoa!
Here we go.
Deja vu.
It's a recent one.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Do we want to keep this one? That's the first question. Is there any mulligans? Do we want to keep this one?
Oh,
We
I'd
just
like
covered
to
it.
go-
And
I'd
we
like
covered
to
it
go
really
deeper.
recently.
Deep. We got to
Let's
go
go deeper, yeah. Let's spin again.
Deep tracks.
Go.
Here we go.
From 3.
Mulligan.
Mulligan. Yeah. Not that deep. Not that deep. No.
That's actually the one
Not deep.
song I can defend from that album.
Yeah, I probably could as well, in all fairness,
Yeah.
but we don't need to go there. No, because they
Let's go.
haven't spun this yet, have they?
I don't.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah, they did.
No,
yeah.
they
Have
have
you done without you? Okay.
Josephina's the last. from
Oh,
that
okay,
album.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Well, this is the last one. We've had 2 mulligans. We're going to
Okay.
live and die by the sword. The next spin, we get whatever we get
Yeah.
now, boys.
Oof.
Good times to charm, man.
This is how many say I.
Yes!
It was
Oh my
called.
God,
It
are
was
you kidding
called.
me? Are you kidding me, Corey?
Woo!
You did that,
Scott
Corey.
Haskett. Nice.
Okay, I mean,
That's
Someone
a weird
named Scott
one,
Haskin.
the whole show.
Scott Haskin, please stand up.
Yeah, Scott Haskin. Scott Haskin, you're being moved into out of the lurker room, please.
Oh man.
Someone send that man the link. He's got to come in and host.
Okay, boys, you know the rules. No talking over top of the music. If you can, raise your hand, and then Corey will see you, and we'll stop the song at an appropriate point, and we can talk about what you're hearing. Corey, should we fire this thing up? There's some reverb on those drums, hey?
Yeah, I love it.
The drums and cymbals are just so heavy reverb. Like they sound massive. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Takes bow. Scott Haskin takes.
Yeah, Scott Haskin, manifested Sunday afternoon in the park, got it, and now he's gloating. He is basking in the glow of what he's done. So
he's called his shots.
I can totally see this. I mean, this is Ed messing with these new sounds on the synth and like, hey, check this out, Al. And Al just like, oh, that's kind of cool, and just starts throwing down a beat, and you can just totally see this is just exactly how this came to be. It's just really fun to kind of listen to them just kind of riffing off of each other, and you can also see the early, like what led to 1984. The way that the notes are bending is exactly like 1984 starts, just with a different synth sound. So this is sort of him trying a whole bunch of stuff out with his brother.
And here's a question that one of you might know. Which came first, Fair Warning or Escape from New York? Because that sure as hell sounds a lot like a lot of the music in Escape from New York.
I was thinking John Carpenter vibes on this for sure.
Oh, yeah. Was that 81, 82, Escape from New York?
I think it was around 81. So around the same time.
Oh, the head was 81. Yeah, there you go.
That's true. That's very Escape from New York vibes.
The Thing. That's Carpenter's. Yeah. Well, Halloween is his best, but The Thing is great.
I once read, I think I read somewhere that he wrote Sunday Afternoon in the Park, and it was a reflection of the pre-wedding jitters he was feeling. He was getting married to Valerie. Wow, that guy really freaked out about getting married.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah, that's basically what was going through his head.
Scott Haskin says the working title was "I Bought an ARP Odyssey."
That album cover is still it's just so badass. That one picture of, it's like one dude just pummeling some guy's heads on the ground. Yeah. And that artist was like severely like mentally ill, like depression. I forget his name.
No kidding.
So that's what those are the thoughts going on in his head.
Yeah, that cover looks like one of those things where they do an artist, like this is what an artist looks like on heroin. This is what one looks like on PCP. It looks like one of those examples.
Nice.
I love that album cover so much, but it's
there it is.
Not, but it's not pleasing to the eye. And I remember when I was a kid, I discovered Van Halen when 1984 came out, and I was gradually buying up all the albums. And I remember Fair Warning was the last one I bought because I just thought it just looked bad.
Pummeling the guy.
Yeah.
Now, should I be saying this? But a lot of time Corey emails me saying, I feel like, I'm having these thoughts of the Fair Warning cover. I don't think he wanted me to get that out there. I said, Corey, you need to talk to somebody.
It's the little guy that's pointing that freaks me out. Those eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
It reflects society. That guy that's pointing reflects society today. He's like those guys that are just like, hey, there's a fight going on. Let's get our phones and record this stuff. Let's do it now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Reflects society.
Yeah.
I put that picture up on my wall, current mood, and then put
Who knew Ed was that angry,
Complaint department.
He was always smiling, and everything seemed like really cool because every time he was on stage he was happy, but he was he was pissed off at Dave and Templeman. You know, it's like, just let me do what I got to do, man. I got all these ideas. Nah, you're a guitar player, kid. Remember that when he said Dave wouldn't let him play keyboards. Mm-hmm. You're a guitar hero, kid. That's what he said. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Fair. Let's go.
Bonham.
I was just that I love that offbeat that Alex is doing. It's such a great little. There's a disorienting sort of vibe in the song, and Alex really. A lot of it's the swirling synthesizers and everything, but there's this ominous thing that Alex is doing with his foot there, and it's an offbeat, and it just creates this whole off kilter thing.
Yeah.
One of the things I was noticing too is that it has Ed and Al's groove. It's not just when Ed's on guitar, like just listening to this groove, it's not just that they're strictly in time, because anybody can play just exactly in time with each other. There's just this give and take that they have, just the way Ed's accenting the notes on those riffs on the keyboard, and the way Al is kind of playing off of that is just so tight, but also just so unique to them. It's just interesting that what they have as the groove translates from the guitar to when he's on the keyboard. It doesn't really matter. They're just
right.
They are who they are.
Yeah, like the way he'll put a chord out there, and you get the fade, that decay that's coming in right at the end of that heavy accentuation, that just like it's like kicking you in the gut or punching you in the gut. You know, excellent effect.
I don't really know too many bands too who were sort of big hard rock and party bands who would have done something avant-garde like this.
Yeah.
Around this time, like I said, it's not really a risk maybe because it's a short song on the album, but it's still. I love those bits where artists stretch out, and even if it doesn't always land, you appreciate. Okay, well, we're trying to learn something different. And of course, then they do carry this forward, and we do get more synths later on. But I think it's like I said. I mean, I put it last when we did our rankings, but only because the other songs are just better on this album. But it's still a really interesting piece of music. It's weird. It's super freaking weird, but it's really cool.
Yeah, but then after this, you see Dave and Templeman steering the ship back towards the pop route with Dave Diver Down, and then Ed takes over in the following one with 1984. It's like, yeah, I'm building my own fucking studio. How about that? But this is a departure from what they did. I mean, they had some darker moments on Women of Children First and first few albums, but this is different. This song sounds awesome in the headphones, by the way. Doesn't it? You got to listen to it in headphones.
Really nice.
Oh, hell yes. Yes.
The closest I can think of is like Black Sabbath would often put in those short 1.5-minute instrumentals, but theirs was usually the flip side, which is their music was really dark, and then they put something a little more upbeat on the album that you wouldn't really necessarily associate with them normally. But they had some really cool creative things like that too that you almost don't think of, and then when you listen to the album, you hear them and you say, oh, this is actually a really cool little interlude here.
Yeah,
it reminds me of Orion on Master of Puppets. Metallica.
Oh yes,
that's my favorite Metallica song, because James Hetfield doesn't sing.
Boom.
Although Orion would be an interesting template for something like this, where they actually extended it and turned it into an actual groove, where that's the backdrop, and then like now let's add guitars and add some other stuff to it, and see where it could go. But yeah, I
was thinking too, though, when you think about this as well, we're still in the age of albums here, when bands write albums, like you're supposed to listen to the album front to back. AC/DC famously never released the greatest hits because they said, well, our albums, we wrote those albums specifically to be listened that way. A modern band, a modern rock band, probably just would never get something like this on a record. Your Imagine Dragons or Royal Blood, they just, even if they tried it, the company go, yeah, no, we're not putting that on a record.
Yeah. It's a different era. Who was it? Oh, Dokken was talking about the new album Dokken, where They got like 5 videos already done. And Don Dock was saying that way by the time we go to Europe next year, the album's still on people's minds, or, you know, reminding people that it's still there. It's a whole different approach. You got to just spread it out. That's why Dave, I don't think, is putting out an album. He just does those songs at a time, because that's what he told Joe Rogan. He doesn't think that's it's worth doing anymore. I don't agree. I still like the Rolling Stones album is fucking amazing. Hackney Diamonds.
Agree. Totally. Yes.
And, you know, just to listen to a collection of songs, it's just like looking at a photo book. It's like a snapshot in time. And those songs that Dave wrote too, those are all part of a theme. It's like a musical he was working on. So I wish he would just put them all out as a collection, like him or not. But I think, what's the one? Nothing Could Have Stopped Us Back Then.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's his best one there. That's him singing in his range. I love that song.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow Bar and Grill.
That's
it's one of my favorite songs. So again,
Yeah.
this whole body, right? Wasn't it recorded? When was it? It was like 2007, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
07.
So
Yeah,
he still had it. That's what you were saying earlier, right? His voice there had been like a resurgence in his voice, and there was strength there. And I think that material, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he did it at Henson Studios with John Five. And then he said John Five said something about they did the songs and John Five had to leave. He had to go out on tour with someone. I can't remember who, Marilyn Manson, whatever. And then Dave ran out to the parking lot and said something was wrong with it, and he had to go back and re-record all his parts. That was some story that John Five was like, oh, shit. So he was there until like 4 a.m.
I think that Dave project gets a bad rap. Like, I mean, but I think it was meant as a concept album. And so I think if he presented it, you put it out there as the concept, the whole thing would make sense, and it would be a lot more. It's never going to be as great as Van Halen, you know, but you know, it's quirky. It's his story he's telling. I don't mind. I think it's pretty good. He's got John Five in it. I think Greg Bissonette's on some of that. It's like
he is, yeah.
It's pretty cool, I think.
Brett Tuggle's on there.
Yeah. No, I would have. I would have lined up to hear that. Certainly not the Roth Lives. No way. Forget that shit. But that you know, believe me, yeah.
I wonder if he's doing that. A lot of times those artists will do that just so they can get the publishing, like give the song to some studio for a movie.
Yeah.
Like Kiss did that on was it Monster or the one Sonic Boom? They did like a Walmart special where it was like the second CD was all re-recordings of their classics. And Def Leppard did that too. And then
Def Leppard, definitely.
You're watching a movie and you're like, oh, that's I know that song, but it's like doesn't sound like the original.
Right.
A lot of that's
like
for copy.
Hysteria 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
Publishing.
Okay, so what about let's finish through this. Let's get through the end of the rest of this back half of this song, and then we can get into spinning the wheel again.
Spin it again. That really in your headphones, it's even better. It sounds like a monster.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Almost a crime to stop it right there with the way it transitions to 1 foot out the door.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's spin the wheel up again. Let's spin it up lucky 7 times, Corey.
Here we go.
And then we'll spin it up and see what we get. Same rule. We get 2 mulligans if we want them. The third one we got to live with. Unless it's an instrumental, because we're not doing 2 instrumentals. That's my only caveat.
Here we go
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
I think we have consensus. I don't think we have a mulligan. I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
As long as somebody has a copy of it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, speaking of Dave wanting to go back to paint stuff.
That's it.
Yeah, how about that? Dave doesn't want. He's not renewing the. He's not allowing the contract to be renewed.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
Yeah,
That
we'll
is
feel
one of
it.
his best records.
Yeah.
It's a
And
weird
it's a career
situation.
high for him. Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Is it
honestly.
that he didn't have creative control, complete control? No, I doubt that. It's something that
It's got
I
to be
wish he. I
something with
wish
his
he would
ego.
just at least respond though. Just clear the air and say, guys, yeah, I know Wolf said that, but here's the deal.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that was a shock because I just he put so much work into those lyrics, and I mean that was his return. It was like,
and it was glorious. Every track on that record, absolutely return to form.
Is he
Made a
just
grown man
bummed that
cry.
it didn't do as well commercially as the others? That can't be.
So,
I mean,
so
They had a successful world tour to support it. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So am I the only? I'm take it then from the general tenor and sort of looks on people's faces that I'm the only person on the call who isn't enamored of this album front to back. There are songs on it. Songs on it.
may
that I
very
like,
well be.
but
Yes.
yeah, I think okay. That's if I'm in the minority. That's okay. That's okay.
Are you missing Michael Anthony's harmonies? That's
Yes.
one thing that's missing.
You know what? Honestly,
Honestly,
something
I'm
about there's
missing
something about
Wolfie's harmonies on it because
Yeah.
Wolfie did a great job on the couple songs where Dave let him do the backgrounds, and it
Right.
but Dave doing Dave's background vocals just doesn't make it sound like Van Halen.
Heath.
That was a shortcoming for sure. I was just gonna say about Dave, like that. Yeah, it's maddening that Dave is preventing this album from coming out. But he also his own the DLR band record. It's not out there, and like
Right from '98
with that's a great record, and it speaks to his. It does so much for his legacy, and why he would be just not having that come out or not pushing for that to come out. It's just. His decisions are beyond me. Like the man is deranged these days, I think.
Because back in the day, I remember I used to think like he could do no wrong. Like every decision he made, it was just. He was like he had the finger on the pulse, and
He was a golden child. He was.
yeah, and he knew how to work the media, and and yeah, you're right. Now it's just head scratching stuff.
So
Now, Sorry, go ahead.
Question on that, Eric. I just had a quick question on that before because we'll get into the song, but I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times when people start becoming really erratic, especially rock stars, your first thought is, well, is it drugs? Is that started to take? Was Dave big into that stuff? Was that really an effect on?
Yeah.
So do you think is some of that maybe just the long-term effects of, because he doesn't look good. Like he looks, like a fucking walnut.
Yeah.
He's just like a shriveled up little old man now,
Yeah.
So I wonder if just a bit of hard living might be coming into play there.
Oh yeah, no, he did coke. He did. I mean, and it's not like it's a secret. I mean, he's talked about it. I mean, he was talking about doing it with Charlie Sheen, and I mean, he partied hard. No, there's no question. But I don't know if that's it or if it's just that he's just so insulated, that. Yeah, I mean, there's nobody making decisions for him. So there's nobody steering him towards somewhere, away from somewhere. He's just calling the shots. Everything's just so random and unexplainable, It's like you used to be you would say like if he put out something, you'd be like, oh, there's a definite reason why he's doing that. Mm-hmm. There's some reason for that. He's got something planned, But now, he'll put something out and there's no announcement or anything, no forthcoming album. He'll just show up on Joe Rogan because he feels like it.
Dave used to talk about in interviews, like in the early days, he used to talk about how, one of his things was he was hyperactive kid, and he at dinner time he'd be monkey hour. He'd be playing, entertaining everybody. And then his whole thing was, I made monkey hour into a career. Well, I think today we call monkey hour ADHD, and I think he's got it real bad. And I think he probably did not make it better with all the coke he's done and all the drugs and all the drinking he's done over the years. And I think he's like a person, and I have ADHD. I think he's like a person with ADHD that's not taking his meds. And he's done all kinds of inadvisable things, and he's just erratic, and he's got nobody kind of controlling him either. Like there's nobody to say that's a bad idea. Don't do that. You know?
No, yeah. There's no singular focused drive towards one thing.
No.
And nobody could promote better than him. I used to love to watch him, do interviews. And did you guys ever see the rockumentary from the late 80s on Dave? It was around the Skyscraper Tour era. I don't know if you ever, it was on MTV.
Yeah.
And just the way he sold everything, it was just like everything he touched just turned to gold. Like he was talking about the steel drum solo on that Skyscraper tour. And the way he presents it, like he believes he buys into it like 100%. So you're just like ready. Like you're ready. Like, yeah, man, I can't wait for this shit. Like what did he say? He goes, in rock and roll, you got to take some chances. So, we bring out the steel drums, and he's all into it. He's like, and nothing sucks it to you more than the steel drums. And you're just like, yeah, motherfucker. Yeah. Nobody else has done that, but let's do it.
Well,
I think he's spot
think
on.
about like California Girls, that whole thing too. Remember he used to say in the dead of winter, here we come with, California Girls in the dead of winter. So he did a lot of things that were kind of similar to what he's doing now, but because he was the item of the time, you can do no wrong. Everybody's going to go along with it. So that's
he also had a
it.
band though too, right? So I think a band keeps you a little bit more focused. If you do have a band, you're making records and you tour, and then you've got managers and people sort of on your case.
Yeah. Well, Templeman was steering things too, Yeah.
And I love Jeff Brew in the comments has said Dave doesn't want it played because he would rather people remember him for the 6-pack. That's such a burn.
Yeah. I mean, Van Halen's a huge part of his life clearly, but boy, he should be fucking proud of those. They Eat 'Em and Smile.
Yeah, absolutely.
Skyscraper and
totally.
Rolling Enough. I've been a fan of his solo work from day one. I've always just whatever he put out, I'm buying. But there are times you're like, oof. But he's an artist. He's going to do the one thing he doesn't like to do the same thing over and over again. You're just not going to get him to do that. He's not going to make the same album over and over again. He never did that with his solo career. Each album was like vastly different than the other,
Okay. Should we get into some Chinatown? Speaking of vastly
but I want to say real quick, I want to tell you this, and this isn't a great story to tell, but Darren Paltritz on DLR Cast, he's got the book coming out on Dave, was it January? Yeah. So he was saying on the last episode that he's talked to somebody in the know. He couldn't give the name that said that they were on the tours with Dave and Wolf, and that Dave treated Wolfie like shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like he just was like brutal to him, and it was in front of Eddie, and Eddie didn't do anything. That's the story. I don't, but that that Dave was just kind of like, you didn't earn your place here, and you fucked up that part, and you got to get your shit together. And if that's true,
wouldn't Eddie and Alex kill Dave? Like that?
Yeah, I'm like, I can't even imagine Eddie standing there and seeing that and not getting in Dave's face. Like, listen, motherfucker.
You want to talk about a cup?
One more word.
I can't imagine that for 1 minute. No way.
Yeah.
So that. We could follow up with Darren on that, but yeah, I remember he was talking about that. There was somebody there was on at least one of those tours and said that he was kind of rough on Wolf. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, does he have an issue with this album because Wolfie's on it? I doubt it. This is just hearsay. I haven't, we could ask Darren.
Okay. Well, speaking of Wolf, listen to a little bit of Wolf.
Let's do it.
Because he's on this song.
Yeah. Speaking of Wolf, the first thing you notice is Wolf on bass on that riff with Ed in absolute unison.
Yeah.
Just shredding the same exact thing, like perfectly in sync. I think that's such an impressive start to a song and something so different than typical Van Halen, but kind of like Wolf putting his stamp on it too.
It's like what Steve Vai and Billy Sheehan used to do.
Yes.
Like,
yep.
That's what Eddie wanted on Hot for Teacher. I think there's a recording of him Eddie on guitar and bass together. And then they decided to nix it because they couldn't do it on tour.
Huh.
Just for the guitarist too, though, Chaz. Like, listen to the timing on that lick that he's playing.
Oh
He comes off the time. It's just like, whoa, where is this going? Like, what? How, you know, like, follow me now.
And it's weird, and I can't tell you what it is. So I've sat here for hours with my headphones on trying to do this. Yes, and then I said, okay, wait a minute, let me get the bass. Maybe I can figure it out on the bass first. And like, no way, my God. And I've watched a couple of videos online. No, there's some nuance playing in this, and it's incredible. Really,
Wolfie, like his dad, it's
Wolfie
like
effortless.
Yeah, the look on Will's face is just like, yeah, whatever, you know, on stage, live, just like his dad. It's like, yeah, this is nothing.
Right, exactly.
Head is body in topless bar. Warren claims in lowered cars. A buck is still a buck in Shanghai. And a buck is all you are. I pray night for all good sight.
Yeah. The lyrics, come on. This is some of Dave's most inspired stuff. And I know that he took it from like the headline, sensational headlines in the New York Times or the New York Post and stuff like that. But man, I mean, fodder for a great Roth song, right? Like he steals lines from Hallmark cards, right? I mean, just the way he can string words together with that back line, my God. And then my other point is that Wolfie brings in so much of his own stuff, but he's still got that classic thundering Van Halen backline. That's why I was really like, wow, man, head and shoulders. This kid was just a phenomenal bass player. But I love this song for so many reasons.
These are some of Dave's best lyrics of his whole career on this
whole album. Yeah. Well, and this really? Listen to Your Filthy Little Mouth, because it's very similar. He put a lot of work into the lyrics on that one.
Yeah.
First thing that got me was I'm happy that the brown sound guitar tone is back on this album.
Yeah.
It obviously was nowhere to be found on the Hagar era, so he completely changed his sound. I mean, I'm not trying to bash on Eddie, because I mean, he had every right to chase tones or make new sounds. He had every right to do that, and I respect that. But really, that brown sound guitar tone, that is the Eddie that can't be topped.
Mm-hmm.
That cannot be topped.
Which is why everybody was blown away. It's like, yeah, man, he's back.
The ferocity, right? Yes.
In full power.
Ferocious, aggressive. I mean, just everything we love about his sound. Yes.
But
this brought a tear to my eye.
It's one of the few songs on this album that was actually completely original. Like it wasn't from any
yes, absolutely. Yes.
Demos and stuff. Yeah.
I think it goes back to 99, 2000, 2001, maybe around there. It was one of the songs they had worked up, and then things fell apart with Dave at that time. What was the story too about that? It was like 01, and then Dave what did he say? He didn't want the full songs recorded because he didn't want them to get out there or get leaked or something. I can't recall, but they made an attempt on these. All of the originals on here, I think, were done like 5-6 years before.
Yeah, I was going to say to your point too, David, like
with Michael on bass, by the way, too, on those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that would have been interesting to hear.
So when you talk about the brown sound and that being the defining tone of Van Halen, of course, I adore 5150. I think his guitar sounds great on it. Yeah. But it's that same thing, you know. David's wearing an SRV hat there. No one sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan. No one sounds like Brian May. Yeah. No one sounds like Eddie Van Halen. No one plays like them, but no one sounds like them. And that sound is that brown sound. It's just so characterful, and it's so unique to Eddie because of that stupid, ugly, hacked together, chiseled out Strat that he played. Right? There's nothing else sounds like that.
I mean, because that's what made him. That's that Eddie. That's very distinctive. If you hear that guitar tone, like I know people like. I'm sure a lot of people, I mean, no doubt people were turned off with Tattoo being the first single that they released during this album's life cycle. But, but at least you can tell if you hear that guitar tone, even on Tattoo, that is Eddie Van Halen right there.
Exactly. I love that song. It was one of the first songs I put into my cover band set list. I was like, Van Halen's back. They got this nice little tune, right? And to Roth's point about set lists and BPMs and, give people something they can shake their hips to, right? I mean, he was really good and intuitive about that stuff. And I think there was a reason they did that. And then they came back with She's a Woman, like, oh, wow, thought Van Halen was back, but no, now they're even more back, right? I mean, because that was like it was like a soft 1-2 punch, right? It was like a fake and then bam, right? So
that's the Ali hook. Ali
right?
hook.
Well, yeah. And I would not be surprised if that was this freaking basic approach, because that's the way Dave thinks. He's old school like that. I've so many interviews where he reveals things like that he's really got really simple showbiz kind of truisms in his mind, and that he's always been guided that way.
Daughters of the tongue underground, don't mess around. Woo! Welcome to Chinatown. Well, you've been out of now. Welcome to Chinatown.
That little woo right there, people wondered if that was taken from.
It totally fucking is. Come on, seriously.
Yeah, because at that time, everybody had the isolated Running with the Devil tracks. You think it is?
It's come from somewhere. It might be an outtake or something else. There's no way Dave hits that note in this era.
Really?
But not for me. Come on.
I thought his voice, I mean, you could take this song and throw it back. This is like, it was all back for these guys with this track. I mean, even his voice, it is in top form here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention, though, too, because, me and Heath have a nice little friendly, ongoing sort of Sammy Dave thing. One thing that I definitely sort of learned to appreciate through this podcast and getting back into the Dave stuff is his phrasing and intonation, the way he drops the syllables in different places that are not where you'd expect them always. When he sings that line, you painted daughters of the tongue and ground, where he puts don't mess around. Yeah. That's not where you would normally put it. He doesn't put it on the one. Right. It's really good. It's deliberate, and he's thinking about that stuff. I've got a much more appreciation for him as a technical singer, if not like a brilliant. I still think Sammy's the better technical vocalist, but on that side of it and the phrasing thing, that's just again very unique to Dave. No one else sings that way. No one sounds that way.
Yeah, it's who else but Diamond DLR would compare Chinatown to Shakespearean tragedies? Who else?
Yeah.
So good. yeah. And actually have a point if you dig deep enough and listen. He actually makes good sense. He does.
This is Dave just really leaning into his strong suit here. I mean, he does this again and again, where he has multi-layered lyrics that are, they're criticisms in a way of a people, of environment. And if you actually listen to what he's saying, he's making some great points. You never get this from Sammy. It's a completely different thing. And this is, Dave back to form here lyrically for sure.
Yeah,
I know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, in terms of his voice, like somebody said he's at top form. I don't know if he's on top form vocally on this record. Like I hear older Dave voice, not terrible like it is now, but I hear him straining in certain places. Like he's got. Well, yes, when he's hitting those high notes, those top notes. Yes. He's not hitting them the way he used to.
Well, he struggles when he says Chinatown in the chorus there. You can tell he's really straining, and that's where some backing harmonies would have really helped a lot.
Absolutely.
That's what I was actually going to get to, because most of the time I know his voice obviously hasn't aged well, but obviously on this song he's more like he's trying to stay in his lane, and whenever he's trying to whenever he's trying to strain for those higher notes, the lack of Michael Anthony on here, it makes me think that he leaned on Mikey a lot back then. So he would usually take the low harmony while obviously Mike delivered the high notes. But since Mikey's nowhere to be found on here, he's probably kind of, doing that to a degree. I know that seems kind of silly, but I think he's maybe leaning on it just a bit. Just a little bit, though.
And you think you notice that, Heath, right? Like you said, you notice that because he's scooping the vocal rather than really hitting and punching that note. Whereas if you do have, even if you had Ed and Wolfie singing a harmony there, you wouldn't really notice that as much. So it would mask it a little bit and fill out the sound a bit. But it's still a good vocal. It's just not.
Yeah,
it's just not Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, right?
He ends up croaking it out there. But I mean, for the most part, for me, the whole thing works together. So it's like I can let that go. Yeah, you're right. There are definitely those notes he can't get anymore. But for the most part, the swagger, the feel, the lyrics, just like you said, those spots where he chooses to accentuate something or drop it down or take it to an unexpected place. That's classic Dave. You know.
Yeah,
so
when he stays in his lane, he still sounds great. He stays in his lane.
There's an opera singer that broke down Dave's vocals. She did Right Now, and she did Hot for Teacher. I would suggest looking that up. We put it up, and it's just interesting to hear an opera singer complimenting Dave, on just how he sings. She wasn't concerned with the notes that he's reaching. It's just how he delivered them.
I know who you're talking about, Eric. I've seen
cadence
that. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. It was really cool.
She also ripped Axl Rose a new one.
Did she?
For his live performance. Oh yeah.
It was the charismatic voices we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
Here's I'm on the corner, and this corner's where we run the story. 2 times worry, downtown after hours, best you each morning. Can't survive a thing to win. Try being the sin. Next episode begins. It's all happening downtown.
Alex, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's a force on this thing.
Ooh, yeah. Especially in the headphones, right? Bump, just like
he's going complete boogie mode here. Complete boogie Alex.
Yep.
Well, this is a band that always had a really tight rhythm section, and it's a big deal to change a bass player. To change one component of rhythm section, that's a big deal. But to get this kid in, who was, how old was Wolf when he did this? 17, 16? How old was he?
Was it 20?
15.
This was that's the album.
It's 11 years ago.
He'd be in his 20s because he was born in 91. And then this is 2012, right. So he'd be in his 20s.
Oh no, I'm thinking of when he went on tour with him before the album. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even
he was still in high school when he toured with them.
Yeah, even at that, I mean, it's crazy to be. And okay, it's his uncle, and he's been around his uncle and his dad for years and years. But that's a different thing, jamming out in your basement or in the 5150 studio, than getting up on stage in front of 12, 15, 20,000 people and having to do it live under pressure. And obviously this is in the studio, but I've heard live versions of this song that sound fantastic musically because Wolfie can play.
Unfortunately, Dave just could not do it live.
No, not this one.
Could not do it.
Nope.
Yeah.
You just ignore that. Just you use fader.com, take the stems, and just listen to the instrumental.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of room to breathe. Like the way the lyrics are spit out of this.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Great, live, it's tough. It's a tough
By the way, the rhythm guitar we got to also mention too. Eddie is a rhythm guitarist.
Oh, hell yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, and even when he's going, the pinch harmonics and he's playing the rhythm in there, right? It's just like, oh my God.
Eat your heart out, Zach Wilde.
So this is that. Well, this is that idea that you could like kind of feel what he's talking about. Like when he would want to stand in front of his speaker so that the hair would stand up on his arms. It's because he could get that sound on tape, just like that. Oh my God, this guitar is just like on the verge of just exploding. Yeah. Insane.
That's cool. And I remember every time I would listen to this album when it came out, I'm like, I'm hearing Dave and Eddie together again, man. I can't fucking believe it. It's like, never thought it'd happen.
Hell yes, and I was living in Pasadena when this came out, so I was in
really
heaven.
cool.
Oh hell yes! Yeah, it was like
cool, man. Yeah. That's where Halloween was filmed, by the way. We mentioned John Carpenter, Pasadena.
So on the rhythm guitar part, notice that the first half of those phrases, Wolfie is doing basically rhythm bass underneath it. Like he's mirroring that, and then they diverge in the second half of each of those phrases. Yeah. But Wolfie's right on top of it as well.
Great arrangement, eh? That's really good composition. That's because you sit down and you work through those things, and that's a deliberate thing. Oh, well, you play this bit here, but don't do it in the second half because then you get a bit of movement in it, and you just get a bit some dynamics in there. It's super cool.
And we haven't even gotten to Eddie's solo yet. The best part. We haven't even gotten there.
You painted daughters of the Tron underground. Don't mess around. Welcome to Chinatown. Well, you've been high town now. Welcome to Chinatown. It's all happening downtown.
Here we go. The cymbals.
Yeah.
Ryan had his hand up there, I think. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. Yeah, there you go.
but yeah, the chorus, it's a call and response, but it's between, you know, basically Ed and Dave on the first half, and then Al and Wolfie responding, "Welcome to Chinatown," and then Al and Wolfie are going boom, 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 and that second half, like that's where like, you know, Al and Wolf are like totally lockstep, just boom, 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 and so then it's just Ed setting up with Dave on the first half, and it's just really interesting the dynamism between those two, kind of how they trade off.
You know, just to pick up on, I'm sorry, but just to pick up on Wolfie, you know, I can only imagine like Wolfie when he was doing that 07 tour when he was still in high school. You know, people around, the kids around him were like, "Hey, what are you doing right now? Or what are you gonna do after you graduate high school?" "Oh, I'm gonna be touring with Van Halen." "I don't know." Touring with Van Halen. But
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I thought I had something else. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just I was gonna come in with we haven't really talked about how he's using the wah pedal all over this.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
So yeah, and just man, Eddie Van Halen screaming with one of those things. I mean, come on, it's just insane.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. I'm sorry, but every time I hear the song, I can't help but think of that. Did they do like a little I forgot what it's called, but they did like a little concert somewhere. I forgot what it was, but whenever they got into the, I forgot what it was, but if you look it up, I'm sorry, but I can't remember what it's called. But it's when
that was Dave's uncle Manny's club, Cafe Y. You're talking about when they
no, I don't think it was. I don't think it was Cafe Y. I'm sorry, but it's the one where whenever they get into the second verse, Dave goes to Wolf and he does his trademark. "I forgot the fucking words. Quickly to the chorus and go away," or something like that.
Yeah, I love that.
I know. I don't know. I know that's classic Dave. It's classic Dave. I never get tired of it. It still makes me laugh, regardless. But I forgot what it was though, because they did like I think it was like I don't know if it was like a release party kind of deal or something like that.
Yeah, and he's like, "Take me to the chorus."
Take me to the chorus.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called though.
And then was it on the 03 tour? There's one video. I think it was that when he was in Hartford, when I went to see him. He's like, they were doing the harmonies in the background. He's like a band of fucking angels. And that was the one where he was like doing the Jack Daniels, like fucking unsuspecting female.
That hasn't aged well, hey?
No, it has not. And then there's one. It's on YouTube. It's from Hartford, and there was like some fan in the audience was giving him a hard time, or he was just making it up. But he was like. He was giving him a hard time. He's like, your girlfriend's right. You are irritating. and the band kept playing. And then they're about to get back to the song. He's like, well, hold on. I'm not done with this motherfucker yet. It's Hartford, great. 2003. It's so great.
It's live at the LA Forum is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Live at the LA Forum.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome to my town, my town, my town. It's all happening downtown.
Hell yeah.
On an album, it's so cool that this was, if Eddie had to be gone and this is his last album, it's so great that it was this scorching of a record guitar wise.
Thank God.
I mean, out of the whole album, he's amazing on it. And this has got to be one of the strongest guitar tracks, I think, or maybe the strongest. I'm
with
you. Yeah, I'm with you.
Could have ended ugly, man.
You can sum that solo. You can sum that solo up in one word: filth. It's just filth. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Like, you listen to that and you think, holy shit, this sounds like, it sounds like Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2 here already. He's like just ripping the stars out of the sky and burning the fucking city down with it. It's unbelievable.
Oh, you've seen those videos where he says, oh, yeah, I'm going to make it sound like a horse. And now I'm going to make it sound like it, right?
Yeah.
You can hear that stuff in this one, right? He's actually using it. Yeah.
The horse whinny.
Right? Yeah. It was crazy, man.
Just
the squeals. Oh.
I love how I mean, Al always, it's something that Al likes to do in the middle of the solo is to kind of go into double time as you get toward the end of the song. And he does that on this, but I mean, it's so fast, it's harder to notice. But I was just noticing that Wolfie is doing that too. Like he has the eighth note bass line, just like that strumming. And then he goes into 16th notes. He literally is doing it twice as fast as he gets closer to the end, and then goes up and not another octave where he does that in unison with Ed. Boom. Like, it's just, that kid is crazy. I love how he kind of follows in Al's footsteps in this with like, we're going to up the ante on the solo as Ed's tearing it up.
Yep.
Well, it's like Corey always says when they're talking about these things, or Mark always says that, you know, Al's sitting there and in this case, you've got Wolfie too thinking, oh yeah, Eddie. Okay, well, we got a couple of tricks up our sleeve as well. We can throw a little bit of speed into here, you know. What do you think, Michael? Great solo?
Really good. Yeah. Enjoyed it. Loving it. It's a great album. I remember putting the pre-order on this one from iTunes and still have access to it. Thank the Lord is all I can say. It's such a great album.
This is why people should buy music. Don't just stream. Buy music. It's important.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I got to grab something cool for you guys too that I got when I was working in radio. Keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I think I've got a thing called an iPod that's got this on it. Yes.
That's weird.
Welcome to Chinatown. Well, you've been out to know. Welcome to Chinatown. Welcome to my town, my town, my town.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Face
God.
Both
of them shredding the shit out of that. Oh my God.
The speed from the solo carries on into that final chorus there. That's so great.
Yeah.
It's just this epic crescendo into, because that's what you want, right? You want it to build and then go out on a bang. I was just going to bring, you know, this has been a bit of a loving, and we've had mainly positive things to say here, and we're going to vote pretty soon, but this is not necessarily criticism. I love the energy of the verse, and I think the Welcome to Chinatown, the chorus bit, that pre-chorus, it almost, for me, takes me a little bit out of the mood, and it throws back. The pre-chorus sounds a bit more like 5150 era than it does sort of early Van Halen, which everything else is. So that's the only bit of this song that I get. I think that could have been just weird, because it drops into that minor, and it's this weird space where it does push back up into the chorus. But that's one thing about this song that's never quite sat right for me. I'm not 100% sure I'm articulating that very well.
You are a thief of joy.
One of us has got to be. Corey and Mark are not here.
So I almost think that they did that as a means of kind of having that chromatic ascending line leading into the chorus.
Right.
Kind of like they do on Aftershock, which is a great thing. But in Aftershock, that had room to breathe. It had room to kind of establish this is this upping intensity as we go leading into it. Whereas in this case, it's just so fast and it just kind of switches to that and then kind of switches back to where it doesn't have time to breathe there. So I can kind of see what you're saying, Kevin.
Yeah.
Love Aftershock.
Yeah, this is like, it's hyperkinetic. This song almost reminds me of like a friggin' drugged out like crime noir, you know, like kind of like a really spacey thing, man, where, you know, there's a lot of really kinetic drugs involved. I can see this coming out of Roth's time in New York City and when he was probably experimenting with shit.
Correct, for sure. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Just nuts.
I was down in Chinatown. Okay.
Oh, we went down to Chinatown.
Wait, do the face. You're good with the faces.
What I need to do is, I
went to Washington Park.
Play the video. I'm going to play the video back and get a screenshot of Eric doing that, and that's the next T-shirt on the store site.
It's intrinsic to the lyrics. Okay. All right. You follow. So when you
put that on a T-shirt and sell it.
Hey, real quick. So check it out. You guys know Ramses Rios? He did those animated videos, the Dave animated videos.
Yes.
So to thank us for putting his videos on VHND, he made his own David Lee Funko.
Nice.
No way.
The hat's falling off. Hold on. He's got the hat's falling. Yeah, he's got the
is that ever cool?
Shoes.
Nice.
Sparkling shoes. So that's a little Diamond Dave Funko. So thanks, Ramses. But then also, this is new in the Van Halen store. So, well, where are we going? Oh my God. Here we go.
There he is.
Played earlier.
Van Halen 1.
Yeah, these are the cool things from radio. By the way, of course, I have my copy of the remasters.
That's a very small vinyl that you've got.
That's the CD. That's the CD. I know. I know. And Jeff said, "Do you want vinyl or CD?" I'm like, "Well, I'll take CD because my vinyl player doesn't work." So I probably should have gotten vinyl. Yeah, this is the promo single for Stay Frosty. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, hell yeah!
So that was sent to our radio station, and I don't know if you could see it. Is it too glary? I don't know. I can't.
It's a little bit shimmery.
Yeah, it's shimmery. Here's Tattoo. This is a little duller, so maybe you could see it, but that's Tattoo.
Yeah, you're right. We can't.
Well, that was what they would send out. And then it says, from the new album, A Different Kind of Truth, available everywhere, 2712. And then it's got the website that never gets updated, van-halen.com. Probably still got the latest album, Different Kind of Truth.
Right?
I did love that rainbow glare on the discs, though.
Yeah.
It did look pretty, but it's still glaring, though.
A little glary. Anyway, all right. Where were we?
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, where we are is we on this show, we do a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to ask everyone. I'm pretty sure. I think I'm comfortable saying that we can all vote together here. And if there is any dissenting opinion, then I'll highlight it. But is this song What Dreams Are Made Of, or is the dream over?
You,
Heath.
Was that a little special effect we got there, Heath?
What happened?
Fireworks went up behind you, man.
Oh, I didn't know. Weird.
What happened?
Is that a little bit of Corey production there, maybe?
I don't know if that's Corey doing his wizardry, but there were fireworks in the back behind Heath's screen.
Yeah,
it was glorious.
That's Apple's gift to you. It now throws us in for free.
Yeah.
Wait, guys, wait. Corey says that wasn't him.
Oh,
no, it's
if
Apple.
It wasn't Heath and it wasn't Corey.
No, Ryan's right. No, Ryan's
really?
right. Yeah, and like you can do this, like if you do a thumbs up enough times, it'll give you a thumbs up emoji will pop up, and
that's not creepy. That's not creepy.
I think it just did that. It's doing that to you too, Chaz.
There you go.
Just darkened. It just did. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I forget. Sorry, Corey. Forget I said that.
Yeah.
Was it like a lightning bolt in your Cheerios? Is that what it is?
Well, I was in Washington Square Park. It looked like a bag of tobacco.
Okay.
I said, no, it's supposed to be mushrooms. Mushrooms for my pizza.
Oh my God.
The Ross Show.
And again, just to be the like, because someone's got to be the fly in the ointment. I said the only thing, because I was asking you guys earlier about whether you love this album. I don't love the production on this album. I find the bottom. I just.
I've heard that before.
I just find the bottom end a bit. It's muddy's a bit too strong
Kevin,
of a word.
get the hell out. Get out.
Come on, of all the Van Halen records where you can actually hear the bass. I mean, you can actually hear the bass.
It's funny, Chaz. I've heard that criticism before, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
It's just the bottom end is
an
just something about
blend.
it. Yeah.
It's
This one and 3.
Yeah.
I will say, I think maybe. I mean, sure, it's good to hear Wolfie's bass, but maybe a bit too bass heavy. A little
Is
bit
it too dry? Maybe a little too.
Really?
Maybe it could have been pushed down just a little bit. Pushed back.
Yeah, if you're comparing Dave eras, right? If you think about the way this sounds and the way that 1 and 2 sound, or even 1984, there's a big difference in production between those. Like there's so much more separation in the sound, in the frequencies on those early albums than there is on this one. It's very cluttered in parts, in places for me.
Well, and that's for obvious reasons. Yeah, John Shanks produced this, but Ted Templeman had a certain magic, him and Landy, and the location was Sunset Sound. So, because even 1984 doesn't sound, like, and Diver Down, I think it was only Pretty Woman that was at Sunset Sound. The rest was, where was it? The rest was somewhere else in the area. I can't recall. We could look it up. It was at another studio. But anyway, so the first 4 albums those are the best sounding albums, and those are all Sunset Sound Studios, and that's with Landy and Templeman. Mm-hmm. And do you guys remember when Sammy was doing his last album and he called on Templeman to help get that perfect harmony sound with Mike? Like, what did you do, What did you do? So a lot of it is just how they set up everything in the studio and all that, but just the location, all that stuff. But yeah, John Shanks is the one that produced Different Kind of Truth.
It's a matter of modern, just the modern recording sound too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
it's a Pro Tools. Yeah, it's like a Pro Tools sound.
Plus,
it's very
were
clean.
we still in the Sound Wars era? That was the thing with Metallica. Everybody was just pushing the volume to the limit.
Yeah.
Sound Wars were like, the louder you can get it to sound, the more it'll stand out when it's played on the radio. And
Chris L talks about it sometimes. I'm not enough of a techie guy to understand it really, but Chris L talks about it on Pod of Thunder, and he talks it's compression or something he's talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's basically like
basically the quiets are closer in volume to the louds, so that it gives it a fuller sound.
Yes.
Because it never gets too quiet, and you keep it like in this big pocket. But the problem is, like, the difference is then you don't have the soft, like you don't have the huge range between loud and soft.
Yeah.
It's compressing like the overall range. So it sounds fuller. There's actually a similar criticism on that new Beatles track that came out recently.
Oh yeah.
That was a big thing.
Now and Then.
Is that it was very compressed in that same way, where it's just all loud and you don't have the dynamism of space, of pause, of breath between things for it to breathe.
Because if you were to put an MP3 on your computer, it's just like one big block.
Right. Like this.
Whereas all the older stuff has just got some nice
spikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and again, as a highlight for that, I think if you go back to Dive It Down, which again is not my favorite Van Halen album, but it's so crisp and clear on that album. You can hear the snare change rattling. Yeah. Like you can hear that. Yes. Like it's just everything's so. It sounds like you're in the room. Where this does have that modern production aesthetic, and I think it's like I said, for me, it's just been a bit. It's just that one sort of detraction point, but not that the songs. It doesn't affect the songs, but just the way they sound. So
all right, that wasn't huge. All right, Kevin.
Erica, Amigo Studios.
Amigo Studios, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Amigo Studios. So Pretty Woman was done at Sunset. Amigo, the rest.
Right. To your point, Kevin, about the production. I mean, my friends over at Ridiculous Rock Record Reviews podcast, they reviewed A Different Kind of Truth back in 2021. And one of the frequent guests who appeared on that show, his name was he went by Seamus, and he complained about the mix too, because I think he was like I said, I think maybe it was because it was a bit too bass heavy, and also because it's not Ted Templeman and Landy, like Eric said, not Templeman, Landy, but also not Sunset Sound or whatever the original Six Pack was. So I mean, to your point though, Kevin. So yeah.
I was just so happy that the Van Halen tone was back that we talked about before. That I was like, you know what? The rest of it, I never even thought about it. I was just so happy.
Not going to get picky.
Exactly. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. Scott Haskins in the chat, and he is a producer and has worked on a million different projects. And he says definitely yes on the compression. He's just agreeing with Ryan there that because you can, when you know what compression sounds like, a lot of those albums from that era. It's just, and the volume was, like you say, Eric, let's just get everything jacked way the fuck. I was funny because for a different project, I was watching, A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica, which is the band that you raised. And when you listen to, Metallica, it's the same thing. It's just like, wow, there's not a lot of sonic space on that record.
No.
And the other thing, just as a quick comment on that, I'm assuming some of you guys have seen that. Can you believe that Lars Ulrich let that movie go out, that documentary go out? Lars Ulrich does not come off as a doesn't come out of that looking very good to me. So
credit to him, I guess he's putting it all out there.
Right, another guy doesn't have to guard himself. He's achieved everything he wants to achieve, right?
Did you? So a question on this then: Did any of you guys see this song played live on tour? Did they do this one much live?
Yeah,
they played it at the show I went to. Yep.
Yeah, it's at like the first I think was it the first warm up show or whatever. That was when Dave had the mic headset wearing the Sammy type thing Sammy used to wear with a headset with a mic.
Yeah, that's what happened on that LA Forum show. That's like the first show. I want to say that's the first show that they did after this album was released.
Right.
Because the LA Forum show was on February 8th. And he had that Backstreet Boys headset mic kind of thing.
Yeah. He got rid of that pretty quickly.
I'm pretty sure they played it when I saw them on the, I guess, 2012 tour would it have been, and that was in Calgary. I saw them, and I'm pretty sure they did Chinatown there.
Yeah.
And in fact, having a little plug for our patron Discord here. If you go to our Discord, I posted a live recording of the show I went to in 2012. Chinatown is up there if you want to hear the live recording.
It's on Tokyo Dome too. It's on side one.
Yep, it's on Tokyo
Dome.
You're
right. Yeah. You're right.
I thought it was.
I forget because I hate to say it. I skip over it because Dave's vocals.
Yeah.
Well,
it's because they're very tight. That's the positive to focus on in that.
The music, absolutely.
Musically, absolutely. But like I said earlier, Dave, I think he's really trying to lean on Mikey with him trying to strain so many times.
Right.
That may be it, because trying to lean on the whole Mikey thing, since Mikey's obviously nowhere to be found, he's leaning on it.
Yeah,
okay, well, you know,
Kevin, one thing I'll say, kind of bring it back to the Chinatown and the production and the bass heavy piece. I think of all the songs on this record, on this album, this is the one song that really needs Wolfie to be a little bit more on the forefront. And it's not a big boomy sound in this. It's actually a pretty tight, a pretty kind of compact sound that lets Wolfie kind of shine with some of this, detail work, if you will, more of that technical stuff. So, the fact that he's kind of parallel in the mix with Ed as they're sort of, he's shredding up the scale while Ed's shredding down the scale and kind of doing these like dueling guitars kind of thing. I think really it works on the song, probably more so than the same mix on some of the other songs on the album.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Corey, can I get some Price is Right music? Let's do it. Let's get some Price is Right music going on, and we can ask these fine people how many times they think Chinatown was played live. So get your thinking caps on. I will tell you that Van Halen played 1,798 shows. So you can that's your sort of your benchmark for how many times something might have been played.
Yeah.
Where my producer at? You motherfucker.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, baby.
Right.
I'll defend this song, too. This is a good one.
Corey, I hate you.
I'm watching Kevin closely as the song gets played. He's going to
I wish he would play the good.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Not that one.
The rope is coming
Guys, in
out.
February.
He's got gasoline. What's he doing? He's got a lighter. Look out.
See, now, luckily, we're on Zoom, so if we all keep talking, what it'll do is that Zoom will drop the audio volume of the music out, and we don't have to listen to it. So
there we go.
David, how many times do you think Chinatown was played live?
Oh, boy. It was only during this particular, let me see, I will guess, as much as I really want to say $1 just to cheat, but if I were to guess an estimate, I would probably say maybe a good 25 times.
25. Okay, Michael, what about you? Higher or lower?
Limited.
How many times did you say? Sorry.
Oh, I'm gonna go with 17. I think they were limited on how many times Dave
17,
could sing it.
1-7. Okay.
1-7.
Jazz, what do you got, dude?
Oh, 38.
38. Oh, we're all in the same sort of ballpark. Ryan, are you gonna sort of break out and go a little bit wilder, or?
I'm gonna go 45.
45. We've got 8 from Scott Haskin in the chats. Scott Monroe, what's your guess?
I think it was a mainstay during the 2012 tour. I'm gonna say 51.
51 specific. Heath, you got this. This is small with small margins here.
40.
40. Okay. I'm throwing over to the only Van Halen expert on the panel, Eric Senich. So if you don't get it right, dude, I mean, legacy is on the line here.
Turn in your expert card.
Dave's publicist will be calling. I'm going to lowball. I'll go with 10.
10. Okay. Well, it may surprise you that no one went over. The winner on 51 is Scott Monroe because
51?
Chinatown was played 91 times.
What?
Yep.
No
Dang.
way. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
2012,
I thought-
2013, and 2015. Yep.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I didn't think they played it in 15.
Yeah, I thought they dropped it by then.
I was going to say they dropped it.
Yeah, I was trying to keep in
33
mind.
times. 33 times in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. I thought they would just only bust that out like every now and then because that's not one of the bigger songs though.
Right.
Well, but you know what? I have seen video of Eddie and Wolfie going at it with that riff. I've seen live. I've seen them going back and forth. So maybe that was just
and like rehearsals and
It's
stuff.
a good concert song.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they did it for
Good
them.
point.
I think it was a song that they loved, the Van Halens loved doing, and
I think you're probably
I think
right.
probably Dave.
Yeah,
Dave
yeah, yes,
like, we're gonna play
yes.
it regardless, you know.
Yes.
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to read out for you guys
Play
quickly.
Chinatown, okay?
Just going to read out quickly for you. The last time that this was played in a set, listen to this set list. Opening song, Light Up the Sky, Running with the Devil, Romeo Delight, Everybody Wants Some, Drop Dead Legs, Feel Your Love Tonight, Somebody Get Me a Doctor, She's the Woman, Chinatown, I'll Wait, drum solo, Little Guitars, Dance the Night Away with the Jamie's Crying snippet, Beautiful Girls, Women in Love, Hot for Teacher, In a Simple Rhyme, Dirty Movies, Ice Cream Man, Unchained, Ain't Talking About Love, guitar solo, You Really Got Me, Panama, Jump. I mean, that's as good a greatest hits record as you're going to get right there, right?
Yeah.
Good gravy.
I loved when they did Out of Love again.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to bet that
Yeah, they did bust that out a few times
Yeah.
during that.
behind that
Yeah.
set list.
Amazing.
But I mean, it's like
this one.
I was gonna say about the whole Out of Love Again thing. It's like that's a complete workout for Al. That is he burned
Hell
like,
yes.
he burned 1,000 calories on that performance. And but then again, I guess he does that for Hot for Teacher too, except he doesn't do the whole like the revving of the engine intro that he used to do. They just go right into the snare and then tapping solo. He didn't do that anymore, I don't think.
Tommy Lee was saying he's the same weight as he was in high school, and it's like because he's fucking burning calories every night playing drums.
No kidding.
You know?
Doing performances like that, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. That and banging broads every night. I'm sure that burns calories too. but-
Not the way I do it, Eric.
Hey, Chaz,
It's all
by
about
the way,
efficiency.
Getty's new book. Did you get it?
Oh, hell yes.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
effing life. Yes, sir.
Yep. And he talked about Neil Peart in a few interviews recently. And man, he got choked up.
Oh, yeah.
He had to gather himself for that one. When he got the email from Neil Peart, he just short and sweet to him and Alex. That's the interesting thing how everybody refers to Alex Van Halen as Al every now and then. He referred to Alex Lifeson as Al. He called him Al.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He always calls him Al, and those stories and how that there was even the revelation that there was a little bit of resentment that Getty was feeling, right? Because with the ending of the band, and even being empathetic toward the fact that Neil was saying very actively that he just couldn't play as athletically as he used to, and he really couldn't deliver the performance that he did. But, they all kind of felt like, well, you could still go out and play these songs, though. You just don't need to do it that hard.
Yeah.
Neil wouldn't do that.
And then what did he say? That Neil Peart became like what was he like a coach or something, like a high school coach, or was something that he was doing?
He was doing stuff with his kid.
Kid.
So
it was something. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, just living a normal life,
volunteering at the school, and just having a normal life, and that started to soften him. And then so they started. I guess their relationship started mending again, and then they got the news, and it was from that point forward, any type of resentment dripped away, and they were all together. And it sounds like he's going to be even sharing even more about those last visits and chats, and so it's very touching stuff.
Yeah, he's trying to get Al to get out on tour, but
this is what we were talking about. Yeah. Before you came in, they got to meet Paul McCartney, and McCartney was the one.
That's a great story,
right? Exactly.
You got to get out and tour, man.
It's who you
this
are.
This is what it's all about.
Exactly.
Yeah, your Dave voice is better, Eric.
A little bit better. Okay. You got to get out there and tour. Actually, with David, you gotta just not tour at all. Just do a few corporate gigs.
Yeah, and then put it all on YouTube. Yeah.
He's such a weird guy.
I don't know, but every time I hear him do that Cheshire Cat smile, it's like you're going to be in for something funny at any second. I can't help it. Every time I just can't help but smile every time, and even Eric when he does it.
I think it's called cocaine jaw, right?
Yeah,
it's cocaine. It's absolutely cocaine.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey, listen, guys.
God.
Thanks so much for everyone jumping in. I know that Corey had to do a quick sort of pivot this week. Mark, Kamaya, we should all, maybe this is my audition tape for this job. Maybe we'll have to. Maybe we could do a draft between the people who are on here. Maybe Mark's out. Maybe he's dropped the ball one too many times. I don't know. We'll have to see if he comes back.
I don't know, man. This could be like a Leno Letterman type of thing. Could get real ugly.
Maybe I could switch between. No. Maybe him and I could switch between who's going to be the lone millennial for the show.
Can I be your Andy Richter? Kevin, I'll be your Andy Richter. I'll just sit there.
Oh, wait, who's going to be Ed? Oh, who's the oldest on the call? Because if I'm going to guess, I'm going to say it's Chaz.
Oh shit! You might be right. Oh, you might be right.
So by show of hands, who's hit the big 5-0?
Oh yeah,
we got a few. Yeah. Okay, so Ryan and Scott are the babies, and Dave, an embryo on top right there, top left. So. Awesome, guys. Well, again, so thanks so much for jumping on and helping Corey out here. We'll just wrap up. Don't forget that there is merch on the store, and we've sort of I've done some of it, and Corey's done some of it, and it's all there. So the Christmas season is coming. So for those special people in your life, get them an Apologies to Gary t-shirt, because we need to get these things circulating just in case they ever go to an Extreme concert. On behalf of myself, and then we've got Nate was on earlier and had to drop out, David Lee, Michael, Chaz, Ryan, Scott, Eric and Heath. So Eric and Heath, I think I just made you like Benifer, or you're sort of a couple now.
That's another shirt.
There you go.
It's like it's like a famous couple. Is like
Eric McSinich.
Daffy Duck would have said it like that with his speech impediment. Eric Bennett.
That's what you get when you rush people. That's what you get when you rush.
It was like the famous couples like Ben Affleck and J-Lo. They get like one name.
Yeah. So this again, special bonus episode. And we'll wait for the safe return of Mark Kamara, because I tell you honestly, trying to wrangle you all crazy fucking people and trying to get everyone on track, it's harder than it looks. Mark does a brilliant job of doing that. We are, and the podcast will rock, and we will rock you
later.